All right, well, great. Well, welcome everyone. Good afternoon or good morning to you, depending on where you might be at. My name is Chris Hansen. I am the co-founder and CEO of a company called the Data Bank. We are a nonprofit CRM provider based in St. Paul, Minnesota. We've been in business since 1998, so we've been doing this a long time. I mentioned that to provide some context to what I'm going to be talking about today. So, I've been involved with nonprofits and technology for some 40 years. And over that time, I've seen what I would call three major technology transition points, uh, specific to nonprofits, but in the general business world as well. The first one happened back in the 1980s, mid to late 80s, when personal computers came onto the scene and provided a way for even small nonprofits to manage information internally in their organizations. That gave way to the first fundraising management softwares coming out in the late 80s, early 90s. Really revolutionized how, again, even small nonprofits could manage information. The second major transition was, of course, the internet, which came about in the mid 90s to late 90s. That's when the data bank started. As you can see there, we were one of the first companies to offer a web-based fundraising management software in the marketplace. And of course, as we all know, the internet changed everything again. It changed how we access information, how we communicate, uh, just everything we do as far as technology was changed to the internet. And now we're in what I would consider maybe the most transformational time, and that's the uh, era of artificial intelligence, which really has been going on for a long time, but really came to the forefront in November of 2022 when OpenAI released ChatGPT to the general public and kind of changed everything. So, and I'm really excited to share with you some of the things that we've been doing here at the Data Bank, ways that you can use this AI technology to help you with your donor queries, donor data analysis. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to spend a real brief period of time talking about writing effective prompts. It looks like most of you have used these tools and are comfortable with them, which is great. Um, so you probably maybe already know some of these, but I'm going to just briefly go over uh, some of the things to do for writing effective prompts. I'm going to give an overview of how these AI bots do both data query and data analysis, because I think it's helpful for us to have an understanding of how these tools are working. And then we'll actually go in and take a look at doing some data analysis with our AI bot within the data bank, and we'll have some time for questions here at the end. So, all right, so um, here's a list of just a few of the AI bots that are out in the marketplace. The primary ones, ChatGPT, which I mentioned before, which debuted in November of 2022 by a company called OpenAI. They are clearly the largest provider of AI services in the marketplace. The adoption of ChatGPT was unlike any other bit of software that we've ever seen. I mean, it grew exponentially, um, going from 0 to over 100 million users in just a short period of time. Uh, on the right-hand side, there is Gemini, which is Google's AI bot. If you're in the Googleplex, the Google Workspace, you're probably familiar with Gemini if you've done Google searches. They've now rolled out some of the Gemini functions to just regular Google searches, so perhaps you've experienced working with Gemini. On the lower left, there is Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI bot. If you're using Microsoft Office or Edge or any of the Microsoft tools, you've probably experienced Copilot. Both Microsoft and Google have worked pretty quickly to integrate AI functionality across all of their tools out there. And then in the bottom there is Dbot, which is the DataBank's AI bot that we've built and integrated into our nonprofit CRM. Now, behind all of these AI bots are what they call AI models. And I point that out because ChatGPT, Copilot, and DBot, all three of those are using AI models or AI engines developed by OpenAI, which again is the creator of ChatGPT. So I think the recent data I've seen says that somewhere on the order of 75% of all AI queries, AI prompts are going through AI models developed by OpenAI. So again, they are clearly the predominant provider in the marketplace. Now, these are just four of literally now are thousands of different AI bots that have been developed out there in the marketplace, but these are ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot are certainly the most prevalent ones. All right. So let's briefly talk about prompt writing and why this is important. If it looks like you've used these bots before, but the key to using these AI bots effectively is knowing how to ask the bot for what it is you would like to have it respond with. The more clear and concise you can become with what you're asking a bot, the better your response is going to be. Writing effective prompts is really a skill that people have to develop. They have to work with it. There certainly is a trial and error process in here. I point this out because our experience has been with our users on our CRM that it's easy for someone to get concerned about the responses they're getting, or they're not getting the kind of responses they want. And the reason that happens, far and away, the main reason that happens is because they're not asking the bot in the right way or with the right structure. So there are some key areas to think about when you're writing these prompts on these AI bots. You want to provide as much context as possible when you write your prompt. You want to give the bot clear instructions on what you want it to do. And adding as many keywords into your prompt as possible is really going to help the bot narrow down its focus. I mean, the reality of these bots, at least the main commercial ones in the marketplace, is they're trained on huge, vast amounts of data that they have to sort through, sift through when you ask it to do something. So whatever you can provide the bot in your prompt to help it really quickly narrow the focus, not only are you going to get better response times, but you're going to get better responses from the bots as well. So I'm going to talk briefly now about DBot, which is what we're going to use to show some examples of doing donor data analysis. I mentioned that it's powered by GPT-4o, which is an AI model developed by OpenAI. They have several models in there. DALL-E 3 is one of their image generation models that we also use to do that. As a GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. And that means that it's been trained on specific amounts of data, and it uses that training in order to find correlations or patterns within the data to help provide the answers that you're looking for from these AI bots. Real quickly, some schematics here of how this happens. Now, one of the nice things about these AI bots, and while I'm going to be talking about DBot specifically, or the same applies for ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, or any number of other AI bots that are out there in the marketplace, is one of the nice things about them is that you can do just natural language prompts. So for instance, if you're using one of these AI bots to do some data query and data analysis, you don't have to know how to structure a SQL statement to do the query. You can just say what you want in natural language. The AI bot will convert that information into a SQL statement to be run against the database to pull the results. So now when you're doing, now I mentioned data query because that's the first step to doing data analysis, of course, is finding the data that you want to do the analysis on. And then the next step is actually doing the analysis. So this adds the analysis step into here, and we're going to look at some specific examples of how it does this analysis. It's pretty amazing what these AI bots can do to do donor data analysis for you. And just quickly then, here's an example of a prompt that you could run in these bots. Again, provided you've given it the correct type of information to do this analysis, run a lifetime value analysis on these donors. So this is a pretty common report. By the way, I have 20 some years experience in running direct marketing, individual donor campaigns for organizations. So I've done a lot of these types of reports on my own. So when you ask it to do something like this, it's going to first review the data that you've uploaded to the AI bot. It's going to identify what information within that data it's going to use to do the analysis. If it needs to normalize or restructure some of that data to do the analysis, it will do that as well. Then it'll run the analysis and then return the results to you. So when you're asking to do data analysis, these bots, it's a multi-step process that these bots go through. It's pretty amazing how they do that. So why are we doing these webinars? Why do we think it's important for nonprofits, development people to start using these bots? Well, there's three main areas that using these AI bots can help you right now, today. We've seen this. We've been providing DBot in our CRM now for about a year and a half, and we've seen some significant advances for our users. First and foremost is creating some efficiencies. If you're have a large donor database and you're trying to sift through that data, and maybe you're having difficulty finding the information you want, well, these bots are built specifically to sift through large amounts of data and find the specific information you're looking for. So they can certainly save you a great amount of time, first in identifying the information you're looking for, and then on reporting on information. So efficiency is one area where these bots are saving time right now today. I've worked in nonprofits. I've worked for nonprofits for most of my professional career. I've never worked with or for a nonprofit where the staff have more time than they have work to do. There's always more to do in nonprofit organizations than you have time to do. So anything you can do to help create some efficiencies is going to be helpful. So efficiency, access, and then the third area where these can help you right now is understanding. And that's what we're going to look at a little bit here with some donor data analysis. These are real tools. They're working right now. People are using them all over the world. And the reality is the quicker you learn how to use these tools effectively, the more helpful they're going to be for you in your work. So with that, let's go in and take a look at how these AI bots function to do data analysis. All right. So I've shared a screen with you. This is a demo database using the DataBank's nonprofit CRM, which we're going to use for this demonstration. And right up here in this upper right-hand corner is the click to use the DBot interface. Now, if you've used any of these AI bots before, each of them, of course, have their own interface, and they all function a little differently, but there are some similarities to them. Oftentimes, you might have to specifically say what type of response you want. In the case here of DBot, we do textual response, visual response, and then query responses, which is actually querying the data. Now, I'm going to go to query here, and I'm going to first pull up a file of data that I want to do my analysis on. And this is key because these bots are only going to work with the data that you supply it. So for instance, if you want to do some reporting that requires historical analysis, you're going to need to pull not just a list of donors, but also a list of their donations over a period of time that you want to do the analysis on. Now, depending on what CRM or donor management software you might be using, you'll have tools in there to pull out that list, that type of thing. One of the reasons here at the data bank we decided to build our own AI bot integrated into the CRM is because it really gives us total control over how the data is accessed and how the data is used within these bots. We also, because we've built this into the data bank, been able to train the bot specifically on our CRM data structures and naming conventions, those types of things. So it's really helped our users to leverage this within their CRM. However, saying that, you can certainly do these things again with ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot. It might take a little bit of training for those to understand the type of information you're working with. All right, so the first thing here is to pull up a list of information that I want. And I want to do some kind of historical data analysis. So I'm going to go to my save prompts. If you're using any of these tools and you have prompts that you've used that have been effective for you, make sure to save those prompts in the tools. So here I'm going to pull a list of donors who've contributed at least $100 since 2019. And I specifically asked to show all contributions because this is going to be important for the types of analysis that I'm going to be doing for you. All right, so there we go. This came back with 333 entries out of this demo database. And point out again, this is a demonstration database. We do have, historical data in there. It might not be what you would normally see in an ongoing regular donor database. So just want to point that out to you. Okay, so now I've got the records that I want to work with. So now the next thing I want to do here is do some data analysis on this. And, there could be a wide range of different types of things you want to do with your information. So I'm just going to click on the data analysis tab. Now I'll mention if you're going to be using any of these other AI bots, you'll first need to run this list within your donor management system, export that file from there to load up into whatever AI bot you're working with in order for it to do the data analysis. And most of them you can just upload a text file or even an Excel file into them. So in this case, I want to do some work here to, I want to see retention rates for these donors. So this is pretty common type of report you'd be running. So I'm going to ask DBot here to create a donor retention report, including year retention since 2019. And I'm going to hit the send. So now this is sending this data off to the AI model that we use at OpenAI. It's anonymized data. We don't send personal information there. We just have a record ID that's used to do this analysis. And depending on how complex the analysis is that you've asked for, what time of day it is, how busy these AI engines are, all of these things can affect response times from these AI bots. Sometimes you'll get a response back in a few seconds. Sometimes it might take you a few minutes. It really just depends on a lot of variable things. I should also mention that every time I run these reports, I get something a little different back from them. So here we go. Now, so again, I asked it to create a donor retention report for these donors year by year since 2019. So it goes through the process here. First it identifies what information is in the file that I sent. Then it'll do some conversions of that information in order to do the type of analysis that I've asked it to do. Here is a quick calculation of retention rates. Now, these retention rates are not realistic. Again, this is a sample database, so we've got some non-standard data in there as far as donations go. But let's just look at the overall process here, not the specific numbers that it came back with. It created some observations for each year as it looked through this to identify some unique aspects about retention rates year by year. Then created a chart and a graph here showing, in this case, unique donors by year and then retention rates by year as well. Have some explanation of the visualizations that it created, and then some key insights in here. So, there is a quick example of a retention report that is done completely by this AI bot. I've run retention reports many times, and you might have some retention reports built into your donor management system, which is great. We also have something for that within the data bank. But the nice thing here is this can create some visualizations for you. You can ask for specific types of visualizations in your report as well. So now if I wanted to say use this as a basis for a report, I can just download this as a Word file and then start working with it locally to add information or edit what's in this report as well. So there's a quick example of a type of report, excuse me, that these AI bots can do. Let's run another one here. So now I'm using the same information. This time I want to well, here's another one. Let's actually run a ask it to create a series of emails for these donors geared toward increasing their donations by 25% this year. And I add some specifics of the type of organization I am. So the emails will be a little personalized. Again, this is just a more detailed, but still relatively generic prompt. You can be much more specific in your prompts when you're asking for this type of information. So let's send that off. Again, I'm using the same set of data that I ran the retention rate report with. So these are donors who've contributed $100 or more since 2019. And again, it's going through the same process that we saw before. It's looking at the data that I've sent to it. It's identifying what information does it need in order to create the type of response that I've asked for. And then it's going to create the responses. I will mention to you that as you're using these tools, it's really important to persevere when you start using them. If you're not getting the kind of responses you want, it's usually because you're not asking it for the right stuff. So, okay, here we go. Wow. So here's the prompt: create the 5 emails. Again, it goes through specifically the data that it was given, what it did. It did some cleansing of some missing values. It did some additional steps in this. Did some summarizing of the information that it was sent. And then it created these visualizations. So total donations by year, number of donations by year, average donation amount by year, all of which it used in order to create what I specifically asked for, which is right here, the fundraising email campaign. And now it's created some specifics around what should be said in those emails. Of course, using these AI bots to create some textual content is one of the main ways that they're used. What's nice here is you can combine the analysis with also some textual responses specific to the analysis. So again, this is something I could download and work with locally. I could use my email program then to set up these various emails um, and go from there. All right, so there's another example of how to use these AI bots, in this case, to create an email fundraising plan. Let's run through one more here. Give you one more example. And so here's another one that is frequently done. This time I want to do a lifetime value analysis of these donors. And I'm going to ask it to return a file with that information appended to it. So I'm just going to send that off here. So another thing you can do with these AI bots is not only can they provide some reporting and graphics and those types of things, but they also can make modifications to the data you send it to. So just specific to how what it is you want them to ask. In this case, I want to do a lifetime value analysis on these donors, and I've asked it to return a file with that information appended. So then I can work with that information locally. I could import that into my donor management system and append that information on the various donor files. So we'll see what we get back from this. Well, we're kind of waiting for this response from DBot. If anybody has any questions, well, there we go. Okay, so here again, one of the really nice things about these bots is they don't just do stuff for you, they tell you what they're doing and how they did it. So it gives a lot of validity to the processes that these bots run through. Again, here's the information I sent, identified what each of these is, then how did it calculate lifetime value for these donors, provide some key insights. And now here is the file that I can then download to my local computer and pull up, and it will have the lifetime value uh, attached to each of the donor records in that file that I've done. It's just kind of amazing stuff that these AI bots can help you do. I know as I started working with these, I questioned quite a bit in the beginning, how does it know to do these things? Well, the reality is, again, these bots have been trained on huge amounts of data, mostly accessible over the internet. So, of course, one of the things they're accessing when they're doing this is how to do fundraising development, how to run various types of donor reports that would be typically used, because that information is all out there on the internet, of course, as we all know. Um, so it's a really one thing I will say about these is make sure you read through the information these bots are returning to you. Don't just necessarily take their word for it. I think that in the 2+ years that I've been working with them, they have gotten much, much better as far as their accuracy and those types of things. I'm seeing very few false responses, or sometimes hallucinations, they call them, from these bots anymore. Their accuracy has just improved significantly. All right, well, we've got time here for one more. I'll run one more type of analysis here. Okay, here's one that's kind of fun to do here. So, taking this set of donors, I wanted to identify the top 25 donors and provide some historical charting of those donations over the last 5 years. Again, while we're waiting for responses here, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer those. So we're doing this. I will say, I will caution you, if you're going to be using like ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot to do these types of data analysis, I would caution you from submitting actual identifiable personal information into these bots. because the reality is many of these bots will take whatever information is uploaded to them and then use those for the general training of the bots. So the reality is you don't know sometimes how this information is being used. Okay, so Lisa asked a question, what do you think is one of the most common ways people are using AI in fundraising? Well, the far and away the most common way they're using AI is to write fundraising solicitations to help them draft messaging to donors, to help them segment. So that would be the first and foremost way. It's the most general way that these AI bots is writing copy. The second most common way that these are being used is to help them, say, do some segmentation in their database to help identify, say, giving ask amounts by segments within their donor database as well. But clearly, the most common way they're being used in fundraising is to help write solicitation copy. All right. So here I've asked it to identify the top 25 donors and provide some visualization of their donations over time. You can see here that the donors are identified by unique ID, which is the way that we send the data to OpenAI. We don't send personal names or addresses to OpenAI. So again, caution you for putting personal information into these AI bots. And then it provided some observations of this as well. So just another quick way. And again, you can, with these bots, you can download the response, what the responses that come back, work with them locally on your computer or in your Google Workspace or however you're managing that type of stuff. So there we go. There's some specific ways to use these bots to do donor data analysis. Just some final thoughts. Um, Disclaimer here again, caution you when you're using a ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot or some of these other commercial AI bots that are out there in the marketplace. Just do not upload personal information into these bots. Really caution you for that. Even though they say they they have all sorts of level of security and those types of things. Some of these AI engines are using whatever information gets loaded up in them to further train their AI bots. Again, prompt engineering, the key to getting good responses, good donor data. Well, there's two keys actually to getting good donor data analysis out of these. The first is giving it the correct information to do the analysis on. And the second thing is making sure to write an effective prompt that's going to get you specifically what you're looking for as far as analysis from these bots. Another thing is, again, I've been working in this area of nonprofits technology a long time. I've never seen any technology evolve as rapidly as this AI technology. I mean, it's changing every day. Once we decided to build our own bot using the OpenAI models for this, we knew it's going to be a constant process to keep updating on our end because these models are being updated all of the time. So if you start using this technology, just understand it's a technology where you're going to have to keep up to date on what's happening with it. It's just the nature of it. Save prompts again. If you find some data analysis prompts that work for you, save those. You can save them either in the AI bot that you're using. Most of them have the ability to save prompts, or just create a Word document or that you save them in. And of course, double check the results that have been returned for you just to make sure that the responses are accurate. Okay, there's another question here. Which AI apps work best for fundraising? That's a very good question. Now, I would say that the main ones out there, ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, all probably work about as well. Again, ChatGPT and Copilot are using the same AI models, so you're going to get similar responses from them. Gemini works with its own developed model. Salesforce, if you're using Salesforce, they have the built-in AI agents within there that I'm sure work effectively as well. Of course, most of my experience is using DBot within the data bank, our nonprofit CRM. And I will say, of course, I feel like DBot is giving the best responses because it's been built specifically to help around fundraising and donor data analysis. Now, there might be some other AI bots out there in the marketplace that are focused on nonprofits and focused on fundraising. Do some searches. Another thing that's great with these AI bots is now they're all hooked into the internet, so you can do internet searches with them as well. And what's nice about using them for internet search is they don't just return a list of websites. They'll actually provide some summary of information that you've asked for. So I would say, if you really want an answer to that question, ask ChatGPT or ask Gemini. Now, they might say they are the best. I don't know. But I think all of them will work effectively for doing donor data analysis. Any other questions? All right, folks. Well, thank you very much for attending. It's been my pleasure. I hope you spend some time working with these AI bots and just start to see the amazing power that these tools have to help you in your fundraising work. With that, I'll say goodbye and have a great rest of your day. We'll send a link out to the recording of this you can share with your colleagues. Take care. Bye-bye.